Aang, Jinora, Tenzin, Korra, Zaheer. These are the airbending masters in the world of Avatar. However, while Aang, Jinora, and Tenzin are officially recognized as airbending masters, Zaheer and Korra show incredible skill in airbending without benefiting from such recognition. Further, seemingly going against the principles of the Air Nomads, Zaheer is a violent and homicidal individual. Which begs the question, what makes an airbending master? Could Zaheer and Korra truly be considered masters on skill alone? Today, we'll be answering those questions. An airbender is a person with the ability to control and manipulate the air. Because of the defensive and dynamic nature of the element, airbenders often employ evasive and defensive maneuvers rather than offensive or direct tactics. To fully harness this power, airbenders must employ flexibility and follow the path of least resistance. Previously, all members of the Air Nomads were airbenders, a combined result of their continuous search for spiritual enlightenment, peace, and freedom, and their abandonment of worldly problems and concerns. While their numbers dwindled after the Air Nomad genocide, they found a resurgence with the event known as Harmonic Convergence. However, this ability was no longer exclusive to the Air Nomads, as people all around the world suddenly became capable of airbending. While the new world brought forward new masters, the criteria for becoming a master don't appear to have changed. As Jinora points out in Original Airbenders, airbending ability, knowledge regarding the Air Nomads' culture and history, as well as a strong spiritual connection are all required to become an airbending master, if we are to ignore the need to pass the 36 different tiers. Further, it appears that tradition still plays a strong part in this new world, as it seems that one must be a member of the Air Nation in order to become a master. This is the only way for one to obtain their tattoos and be anointed by others. In this new world, forever changed by harmonic convergence, where anyone may become an airbender, we are left to wonder if being bound by tradition should limit new airbending masters from arising, despite their evident skill, knowledge, and spiritual ability. Therefore, in order to determine what truly makes an airbending master, we will be addressing skill, spirituality, culture, and knowledge, while also comparing known masters to Korra and Zaheer, who may be seen as airbending masters of the new world. The first requirement that we will be addressing is the skill required by airbenders to become masters. While all airbenders possess the ability to manipulate the air around them at will, creating air blasts, air punches, and other various abilities, masters are incredibly proficient at using this versatile element, often creating and using special techniques. Aang became a master at a very young age, following his invention of the air scooter, which allowed him to levitate and move at incredibly fast speed. Jinora, similarly young when she attained her status as a master, does not employ any special airbending techniques aside from her ability to project her spirit and pass through solid objects in her search for people. Tenzin and Korra both appear to be able to twist the air and levitate themselves at will, with Korra also being capable of propelling herself through the air at incredible speed, ignoring any air resistance. However, none of those feats are as formidable as those shown by Zaheer. Not only is he capable of manipulating and extracting the air from another person's lungs, thereby asphyxiating them, but by letting go of all earthly tethers and following the teachings of Guru Lahima, Zaheer gains the airbending ability of flight, which has only been attained by one other airbender before him. As expected, Aang, Jinora, and Tenzin proved their status as masters through their airbending abilities and techniques. Yet, they are rivaled by Korra and Zaheer, who are capable of flying, asphyxiation, and air propulsion, despite not being officially recognized as masters. In terms of skill, both Korra and Zaheer may be seen as airbending masters. However, skill alone won't be enough, which brings us to our next point. The second requirement we will tackle is that of the values and knowledge required for airbenders to become masters. As shown by Tenzin when he teaches the new airbenders, it is important for airbenders to know the history of their people, their culture, and their traditions. By being knowledgeable regarding the Air Nomads' history and teachings, airbenders may learn important lessons concerning freedom, spiritual enlightenment, and abandonment of worldly problems. After all, airbending has both physical and spiritual elements, making culture and knowledge pivotal components of all airbending masters. Aang was raised in the southern air temple by Air Nomads, who taught him the values and history of their people. Tenzin was taught by Aang and taken to see various air temples throughout the world, helping him deepen his understanding of his culture. Continuing the cycle, Tenzin taught Jinora, who is repeatedly shown to be very intellectual and eager to learn, indicating that she knows all there is to know regarding the Air Nomads and their values. Despite being a villain, Zaheer is no different from the Masters. He states that he has always admired the culture of the Air Nomads, being able to quote Guru Lahima, whom he deems to be the wisest airbender who ever lived. Not only is Zaheer knowledgeable regarding the culture surrounding airbending, but he has also absorbed those teachings onto himself, as shown by the ease with which he moves through the airbending gates. The only outlier is Korra. She is not as concerned with the history, traditions, and values of the Air Nomads as much as she is concerned with airbending as a practical or physical skill. As a result, we cannot say that she passes this requirement of being an airbending master, especially given that she prefers to tackle problems offensively rather than defensively or in an evasive manner. All of these values and teachings also need to be ingrained into the airbenders themselves. Knowledge without understanding won't be sufficient. One cannot become a master by merely completing their acolyte training and answering any question that comes their way. Which brings us to our next and final point. The third requirement that we will be addressing is that of spirituality. Not only do airbenders have to absorb the values and teachings of the Air Nomads into their very essence, but they must also show a strong connection to the spirit world. While he found it difficult and confusing at first, Avatar Aang quickly learned how to cross into the spirit world at will. The subsequent avatar, Avatar Korra, is eventually able to do the same. However, she is also able to purify dark spirits by balancing the energy within them, as well as connect to people's energy via the spirit vines. While Korra may not be one for tradition, she is still in touch with the spirit world. Jinora, the first airbending master of her generation, has a strong sense of spirituality and an even stronger connection to the spirit world. Aside from her ability to project her spirit, Jinora was the first to see the spirits prior to the Harmonic Convergence, and was the one to guide Korra through the spirit world. The reason why Jinora had to guide Korra in the spirit world is because Tenzin couldn't. Despite his skills, his knowledge, and his wisdom, Tenzin's connection to the spirit world was never strong enough for him to be able to enter it whilst meditating. To this day, this airbending master has not gained the ability to enter the spirit world. On the other end of this spectrum, there's Zaheer. Not only has he gained the rare airbending ability of flight by embracing the teachings of Guru Lahima, but he has also shown that he is capable of entering the spirit world whenever he desires to. Despite not being an airbending master, Zaheer has a strong connection to the spirit world, as well as a good understanding of the culture, history, and values of the Air Nomads. While it is not surprising that the Avatar may have a stronger connection to the spirit world as airbending masters given the Avatar's role of bringing balance to the world, it is surprising to realize that the same masters may not have as strong a connection to the spirit world as a man that only obtained airbending as a result of Harmonic Convergence and then used his abilities for unsavory purposes. Zaheer's undeniable connection to the spirit world shows us that Tenzin cannot, in good faith, be said to have passed this requirement, despite the values he carries with him. It is undeniable that in order for one to become an airbending master, they must possess all of the aforementioned traits to some extent. The airbender in question must be incredibly proficient at manipulating the air around them, preferably capable of using particularly difficult or unique techniques. They must have a good understanding of the values and teachings of the Air Nomads. They must be capable of absorbing and embracing said teachings, and they must possess a strong connection to the spirit world. However, as we have seen before, there are airbending masters that do not fulfill all the requirements, while some regular airbenders fulfill them to such a degree that it would be a crime not to regard them as masters. This means that, in a new world changed by Harmonic Convergence, where anyone may become an airbender at any moment, being seen as an airbending master should not be restricted to members of the Air Nation. It should be a privilege that can be bestowed onto anyone that fulfills this criteria to a sufficient extent, regardless of their provenance. I am not arguing that tradition and values should be dismissed. On the contrary, I am arguing that they should evolve to embrace the new world. The Air Nomads should be the ones that bestow this privilege and honor upon those that are worthy, but they should not limit their options to their own people. I am certain that members of the Air Nation, a nation marked by freedom of movement and love of joy and fun, would agree that allowing any worthy airbender to become a master, regardless of where they are from or whom they might be, would help bring the world together that tiny bit closer, rather than keeping it apart. What do you think? What is most valuable when determining whether an airbender is a master? Do you think the Air Nation should allow and anoint all those that are worthy as airbending masters, regardless of where they are from, or reserve that privilege for those belonging to their nation? Can Zaheer and Korra currently be considered airbending masters, even though they are not technically air nomads, nor have they been anointed as masters? Can Zaheer, in his pursuit of chaos through order, be seen as anything more than a proficient airbender given his violent and anarchical personality? Please let us know in the comments section below. Thank you for watching, keep writing.